James Whitmore's knees hit the wet grass before he even realized he was kneeling. Rain soaked through his $1,000 suit, mud staining the Italian leather shoes, but he didn't care. His hand trembled as he reached out to touch the small headstone, fingers tracing letters he'd memorized 2 years ago. Noah Whitmore, age 5. Our little light. I'm sorry I couldn't save you, buddy, James whispered, his voice cracking. I'm sorry I wasn't there. The Boston Harbor Cemetery stretched out in gray morning fog, empty except for James and his weekly ritual of guilt. This was the only place he could still talk to his son, the only place where the crushing silence of his penthouse didn't suffocate him. 2 years since the accident. 2 years of this same pilgrimage every Sunday morning, rain or shine, alone with his grief and his failure. James placed the fresh roses next to the headstone, the same kind Noah used to pick for his mother before the divorce destroyed everything. Before Catherine left. Before the accident that took the only good thing James had left in his world. As he stood to leave, something caught his eye, something that hadn't been there last week. A piece of paper, folded carefully and tucked against the base of the headstone. Not rain-damaged. Fresh. Someone had been here recently. James's heart hammered as he unfolded it. A child's drawing in crayon, crude but earnest. 2 stick figures holding hands, smiling under a yellow sun. Above them, in unsteady letters, Noah and Emma. Best friends forever. James stared at the drawing, his mind racing. Who was Emma? Noah had never mentioned an Emma. And who was leaving drawings at his son's grave? He looked around the empty cemetery, suddenly aware of how isolated he was out here. The fog pressed in from all sides. Nothing moved except the rain. James folded the drawing carefully and slipped it into his jacket pocket. His driver waited by the black Mercedes at the cemetery gates, patient as always. James had told him to wait there. He needed these moments alone, or he thought he did. Now, staring at that crude crayon drawing, James realized something that made his chest tighten with an emotion he couldn't name. He wasn't the only one who remembered Noah. Someone else visited this grave. Someone else loved his son. The next Sunday, James arrived an hour earlier. No new drawings, but he found something else. A small bouquet of wildflowers. Not bought from a florist. These were hand-picked dandelions and clover, tied together with a worn shoelace. The kind of gift a child would bring. James's hands shook as he picked up the bouquet. A child was visiting Noah's grave. But why? And how had Noah known this child when James had never heard the name Emma before? The third Sunday, James found a toy car. Not expensive, just a small red Matchbox car, the kind sold at dollar stores. It was the exact model Noah had loved, the one he carried everywhere until it was lost in the chaos after the accident. James had searched for weeks, trying to find a replacement before he'd given up. But here it was, left like an offering, left with love. James made a decision. He would catch whoever was doing this. The fourth Sunday, James arrived before dawn. He parked his car a block away and walked to the cemetery through the fog, positioning himself behind a large marble monument with a clear view of Noah's grave. He waited, shivering in the cold, watching the sun slowly burn through the mist. An hour passed, then another. James's legs cramped. His coffee thermos emptied. He was about to give up when he saw her. A small figure moving through the fog like a ghost. A little girl, maybe 6 years old, thin as a rail in clothes that looked 2 sizes too big. She carried a plastic Ziploc bag clutched to her chest, moving with the careful, quiet steps of a child who'd learned to be invisible. James held his breath as she approached Noah's grave. She knelt down exactly where James always knelt, and she started talking. Hi, Noah. It's me again. Emma. I brought you the yellow flowers you liked. The dandelions. I had to pick them from the park because Aunt Claire says we can't buy flowers from stores anymore. But you said dandelions were your favorite anyway, so that's okay, right? Emma's voice was soft, earnest, heartbreakingly young. She arranged the dandelions carefully next to James's roses. I miss you, Noah. I miss playing hide-and-seek at Harbor Point. I miss how you always let me be the princess in our games, even though you wanted to be the dragon. I miss your laugh. Do you laugh in heaven? I hope so. I hope you're not alone up there. I hope there are other kids to play with and all the ice cream you wanted and no scary men. James felt tears burning his eyes. This child had loved his son. This child missed Noah as much as he did. He stepped out from behind the monument, trying to move gently so he wouldn't frighten her. But Emma's head snapped up the moment he moved, her eyes going wide with fear. She scrambled to her feet, ready to run. "Wait," James said, holding up his hands. "Please don't run. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm Noah's father." Emma froze, studying him with an intensity that seemed too old for her age. Her eyes moved over his face, cataloging details, comparing him to some memory. "You're Mr. Whitmore," she said finally. "Noah showed me your picture, the one he kept in his cubby at daycare. He said you were really smart, and you built computers that could talk to each other across the whole world." James's throat tightened. Noah had talked about him, had shown this girl his picture, had been proud of him despite everything. "How did you know my son?" James asked, kneeling down to her level, making himself smaller, less threatening. "We were best friends at Harbor Point Academy," Emma said. Her voice was cautious, but not afraid anymore. "Before the accident, we played together every day. He was my best friend in the whole world." "What's your full name, sweetheart?" "Emma." "Emma what?" Emma's expression closed off like a door slamming shut. "Just Emma. Where are your parents? Does someone know you're here?" The question made Emma's face go carefully blank. The look of a child who'd been asked this too many times by too many adults who couldn't help. "Emma, Emma, where are you?" A woman's voice cut through the fog, sharp with worry and fear. Emma's eyes went wide. "I have to go," she said, stepping back. "Wait, please," James said. "I just want to talk. I want to know how you knew Noah." A woman appeared through the mist, mid-30s, exhausted looking, wearing jeans and a worn jacket. She spotted Emma, and her face flooded with relief, then hardened when she saw James. "Emma, come here right now," the woman said, her voice brooking no argument. Emma looked at James one more time, and in that moment, something passed over her face. Urgency, desperation, the look of someone who needed to say something important before time ran out. "Noah told me his secret," Emma whispered quickly, the words tumbling out in a rush. "Before he died, he said if anything bad ever happened to him, I should find you at his grave because you come here every week. He said you would understand. He said you're my daddy too." Then she ran to the woman before James could process what she'd just said. James stood frozen, his mind blank with shock. The woman, Emma's guardian, clearly, wrapped a protective arm around the girl and shot James a look that was equal parts suspicion and warning. Then they were hurrying toward a beat-up Honda parked at the cemetery's edge. "Wait," James called, but they were already gone, the car pulling away with a spray of gravel. James stood alone in the fog, Emma's words echoing in his head like a gunshot. "You're my daddy too." Impossible. It was impossible. He would know if he had another child. Catherine would have told him, wouldn't she? But even as he thought it, doubt crept in. Their divorce had been vicious, full of lawyers and accusations and hateful silence. Catherine had moved across the country the moment the papers were signed. They communicated only through attorneys about Noah's custody schedule. She could have been pregnant. She could have hidden it. James ran to his car, pulling out his phone with shaking hands. "James Whitmore," he said when his head of security answered. "I need you to find everything you can about a girl named Emma, approximately 6 years old. Last seen with a woman driving a 2015 gray Honda Civic, license plate." He closed his eyes, pulling up the photographic memory that had made him a fortune in tech. "Massachusetts plate, Hotel Lima 7394. Sir, is everything. Just do it. And find my ex-wife. I need to know where Catherine is living now and everything about her life for the past 7 years." James drove back to his penthouse in the financial district, his mind racing. In his private office, he pulled out boxes he'd locked away 2 years ago. Boxes of Noah's belongings he couldn't bear to look at. School artwork, toys, birthday cards, photographs. He tore through them with desperate hands, looking for anything with the name Emma. And then he found it. A photograph from Harbor Point Academy, dated 10 months before Noah died. A class picture. Noah stood in the front row, his arm around a small girl with serious eyes and a shy smile. On the back, in Noah's careful 5-year-old printing with obvious adult help. Me and Emma, best friends. Clipped to it was a Polaroid, more recent. Noah and Emma at a park, sitting on swings. And on the back, in Noah's handwriting, Dad, this is my sister Emma. Mom said it's a secret. Don't tell. James's hand started shaking so violently he nearly dropped the photos. His sister. Noah had known. Noah had kept the secret. His phone rang. His head of security. Sir, I found a girl. Her name is Emma Carter. She's 6 years old, currently in foster care with her aunt, Claire Carter, living in South Boston. Before that, she was being raised by Laura Carter, who died 18 months ago in a single-car accident. Laura Carter was employed as personal assistant to Catherine Whitmore during your divorce proceedings. James felt ice flood his veins. Catherine's assistant was raising a child? My child. Sir, there's more. I pulled financial records. Catherine was making monthly payments to Laura Carter, $15,000 a month from a personal account. The payments stopped when Laura died. Where's Catherine now? Living in Boston. Remarried under her maiden name, Catherine Hayes. Her husband is Adrian Blake. They run an investment firm together. Blake Investment Solutions. James's mind spun. Catherine was here, in Boston. Had been here the whole time, living under her maiden name with a new husband, while their daughter lived in foster care with a dead woman's sister. Send me everything you have on Catherine Hayes and Adrian Blake. Everything. Financial records, business documents, all of it. Sir, some of that might require. I don't care what it requires. Get it. And find me the best private investigator in Boston. Someone with FBI experience. Someone who can dig deep. James hung up and stared at the photographs. Noah and Emma. His children. Both of them. One dead, one hidden away. And Catherine had known. Had paid to keep it secret. Why? Why hide Emma? Why pay Laura to raise her in secret? And how had Noah found out? 3 days later, James sat across from Daniel Pierce in a coffee shop in Cambridge. Pierce was 52, former FBI, with the kind of face that had seen too much and remembered all of it. Before we start, Pierce said, I need to know what you're expecting to find. Because if you're looking for dirt on your ex-wife for a custody battle, I'm not your guy. I'm looking for the truth about my daughter, James said. A daughter I didn't know existed until 4 days ago. I'm looking for answers about why she was hidden from me. And I'm looking for anything that connects to my son's death. Pierce's expression sharpened. You think your son's death wasn't an accident? I don't know what I think. But my son wrote a note saying Emma was his sister and that it was a secret. Then he died in a traffic accident. And the woman who was raising Emma also died in a car accident 18 months later. That's a lot of dead people for one secret. Pierce pulled out a notepad. Tell me everything. James talked for an hour. The gravesite. Emma's revelation. The photographs. Catherine's payments. Laura Carter's death. Everything. When he finished, Pierce sat back, his expression grave. I'll take the case. But James, if what you're suggesting is true, if your ex-wife is involved in something that got people killed, then you're not just looking for answers. You're putting yourself in danger. I don't care about danger. I care about my daughter. Emma is living in foster care, while Catherine is alive and well in the financial district. I want to know why. Give me a week, Pierce said. James gave him 3 days before he couldn't wait anymore. He found Claire Carter's address and drove to South Boston. The apartment building was old brick, tired-looking, surrounded by chain-link fences and cracked pavement. James's Mercedes looked obscenely out of place, parked on the street. He climbed 3 flights of stairs to apartment 3C and knocked. The woman who answered was the same one from the cemetery. Up close, she looked even more exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes, shoulders tight with constant tension. Her eyes narrowed the moment she recognized James. What do you want? Claire Carter's voice was flat, hostile. And how did you find us? I need to talk to you about Emma. No, please, just 5 minutes. I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to understand. Understand what? That you're some rich guy who thinks he can show up and take Emma away? We're doing fine without you. Emma told me something at the cemetery, James said quietly. She said Noah told her I'm her father. I had a DNA test done. She's my biological daughter, Claire. I have proof. Claire's face went pale. For a moment, James thought she might slam the door, but instead she looked over her shoulder into the apartment, then stepped into the hallway, pulling the door almost closed behind her. Emma's at school, she said, and she doesn't need you coming here, confusing her, making promises you won't keep. I'm not here to make promises. I'm here for answers. Please. Claire studied him for a long moment, then sighed. Come in. But you have 5 minutes, and if Emma comes home, you leave immediately. The apartment was small but clean. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. Toys were organized neatly in a basket by the couch. It was poor but filled with more warmth than James's penthouse had ever held. Claire didn't offer him a seat. She stood with her arms crossed, defensive. My sister Laura worked for your ex-wife, Claire said, for 4 years, starting during her divorce. Catherine paid her to raise Emma. I don't know all the details. Laura didn't talk about it much, but she was scared toward the end. Terrified of Catherine, or maybe of Catherine's new husband. I never knew which. Why was she scared? She said she discovered something dangerous. Catherine was involved with bad people, doing bad things. Laura tried to get enough money together to take Emma somewhere safe. But 2 weeks after your son died, Laura's car went off Route 93 at 2 in the morning. They said she fell asleep at the wheel. James felt his stomach drop. You don't believe that. My sister didn't fall asleep. She was running from someone. The day before she died, she texted me. If anything happens to me, protect Emma. Don't let them find her. So I took Emma when Laura died, filed foster paperwork under my maiden name, and prayed Catherine didn't know where we were. Who are they? I don't know, but Emma does. Claire walked to a drawer and pulled out a stack of papers. These are drawings Emma made in the months after Laura died. She won't talk about what she saw at the daycare that day, but she draws it, over and over. James took the drawings with trembling hands. They were disturbing for a 6-year-old. Stick figures arguing, mouths open and shouting. Bags with dollar signs. A black SUV with dark windows. And in several drawings, a small figure hiding behind a door, watching. Emma witnessed something, James said. Something that got people killed. And if Catherine or whoever she's involved with finds out where Emma is, my niece will be next. So no, Mr. Whitmore, I don't care if you have a DNA test. I don't care if you're her biological father. I care about keeping her alive. Then let me help you, James said. I have resources. Money. Security. Protection. You think money protects people? Laura had money. Catherine was paying her $15,000 a month. It didn't save her. Your son had a rich father. It didn't save him either. The words hit James like a physical blow. What are you saying? I'm saying Noah died the same week Laura started panicking. I'm saying your son and my niece were best friends at that daycare. I'm saying they both saw something they shouldn't have. And I'm saying one of them is dead. James's vision tunneled. You think Noah's accident wasn't an accident. I think my sister died running from something. And I think Noah died the same week. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. Because the more questions I ask, the more danger I put Emma in. I'm hiring a private investigator, James said. Former FBI. He's already digging into Catherine's life and her husband's business. If there's something there, then you'll get yourself killed too. And Emma will lose another person. Is that what you want? To play hero and end up dead like Laura and maybe like Noah? I want justice for my son. And I want to protect my daughter. You can't have both. Justice means asking questions. Questions mean attention. Attention means danger. You want to protect Emma? Leave us alone. Disappear. Forget you ever met her. James stared at Claire. Everything in him wanted to argue, to insist he could fix this, protect everyone, make it right. But he thought he could protect Noah too. And Noah was dead. I can't forget her, James said quietly. She's my daughter. Then prove it. Prove you're different from Catherine. Prove you put Emma's safety above your need for answers. Walk away. James left the apartment with Claire's words ringing in his ears. But he didn't walk away. He couldn't. Daniel Pierce called that evening with his preliminary findings. Your ex-wife's husband is dirty, Pierce said without preamble. Adrian Blake runs an investment firm, but it's a front. Money laundering, James. Big time. He's cleaning money for the Volkov syndicate, Russian organized crime operating out of New England. How is Catherine involved? She owns 40% of the firm, and she still has shares in your company from the divorce settlement. Blake uses Whitmore Digital Systems as a legitimate business front to move dirty money. Your company's infrastructure, your contracts, your reputation, it's all being used to launder criminal cash. James felt bile rise in his throat. I had no idea. You weren't supposed to. It's sophisticated. But James, there's more. I pulled traffic camera footage from the day Noah died. A black Cadillac Escalade, registered to a shell company that traces back to Blake's firm, was parked across from Harbor Point Academy that morning. 2 men inside, watching the entrance. The vehicle left the area minutes before emergency services arrived for Noah's accident. James's hands clenched into fists. They were watching the daycare. They were watching something. Someone. And both your kids were there that day. Emma survived. Noah didn't. Yeah. Question is, was Noah the target? Or was it supposed to be Emma? Or were they just supposed to scare someone and it went wrong? I need to talk to Catherine. Face to face. Bad idea. If she's involved, then I need to hear it from her. I need to understand why she'd hide our daughter. Why she let Noah die. I need answers, Daniel. And if those answers get you killed, then at least Emma will know someone tried. James sent Catherine an email that night. Subject line, we need to talk about Emma. Catherine called within 10 minutes. James. Her voice was exactly as he remembered, controlled, cold, carefully modulated. It's been a long time. Not long enough. I met our daughter. Silence on the other end. Then, I don't know what you're talking about. Emma Carter, 6 years old. DNA says she's mine, which means she's yours too. What I want to know is why you hid her from me, and what it has to do with Noah's death. Noah's death was an accident, but her voice had changed, gone tight with something that might have been fear. Was it because a vehicle registered to your husband's company was parked outside Harbor Point the morning Noah died? Want to explain that? The silence stretched so long James thought Catherine had hung up. Then she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. James, you need to stop asking questions. For your own safety. Are you threatening me? I'm warning you. There are things you don't understand. Forces in motion. If you keep digging into this, you'll end up like Laura. So you admit it. You know, Laura didn't just fall asleep at the wheel. I didn't kill anyone, Catherine said, and for the first time James heard genuine emotion in her voice, desperation, maybe even grief. But I couldn't save her, and I can't save you if you don't stop. Where are you, Catherine? Let's meet. Face to face. Just you and me. No lawyers, no phones. Talk to me about our children. There's a reason I gave Emma away, James. It wasn't cruelty. It was protection. From me. From Adrian. From people who would use a child as leverage against us. Leverage for what? The less you know, the safer you are. Keep Emma hidden. Don't bring her into this. That's the only thing that's kept her alive this long. I'm going to bring you down, Catherine. You, and Adrian, and everyone involved. I'm getting justice for Noah. Catherine's laugh was bitter, broken. Justice? James, Noah's death was my fault. But not the way you think. I try to protect both of them. I failed. Don't make me fail twice. The line went dead. James sat in stunned silence. Then his phone rang again. Unknown number. Mr. Whitmore. The voice was smooth, cold, calculated. My name is Adrian Blake. I understand you've been making inquiries about my wife. I'd like to invite you to discuss this like civilized men. Tonight, I'll text you an address. I'm not meeting you alone in some. Bring your investigator friend. Mr. Pierce, isn't it? The more witnesses, the better. I have nothing to hide, James. Unlike some people, the call ended. A text arrived, an address in the Seaport District. Abandoned warehouse near the docks. Daniel arrived at James's penthouse within the hour. It's obviously a trap. I know, but it's also an opportunity. If we can get him talking, record something incriminating. Or he kills us both. Like Laura. Like maybe Noah. I'm going. You don't have to. Daniel sighed, pulling out equipment. I'm going. But we wire you up, I bring backup, and if things go sideways, we run. Agreed. Agreed. Night fell over Boston Harbor. James drove to the seaport with Daniel following in a separate vehicle. The warehouse loomed against the dark water. Abandoned, isolated, perfect for violence. James stepped inside, his heart hammering. Industrial lights cast harsh shadows. Adrian Blake emerged from the darkness, polished, dangerous, smiling like a shark. "Mr. Whitmore, thank you for coming. Where's Catherine? This is between men, businessmen. We can resolve this without emotional complications. What happened to my son? A tragedy. A terrible accident. The driver lost control. Your son ran into the street. These things happen. Your car was there that morning. Coincidence." And Laura Carter, unstable woman, drove off a bridge, possibly suicide, because she found out about your money laundering. Adrian's smile didn't waver. "Careful, James. Accusations like that require proof." "I have proof." Laura kept digital records. Everything. The shell companies, the wire transfers, the Volkov connections. All of it uploaded to a secure server before she died. Adrian's expression hardened. "If such evidence existed, you'd have gone to the FBI already. You're bluffing." "Try me," Adrian signaled. Two large men moved to flank James. "Here's what happens now. You give me every copy of any evidence. You sign custody of Emma to Catherine, and you disappear back to your comfortable life and forget this happened. Or what? Or problems get solved. Permanently." Daniel's voice crackled in James's earpiece. "James, abort. 3 vehicles outside. Armed men. This is a kill site. Get out now." James backed toward the door. Adrian's men moved to block him. "I'm wired," James said. "Everything you've said is recorded. FBI is listening. You're done." Adrian pulled out his phone. "Press play." James heard his own voice, but the audio was clearly manipulated, edited into something damning. Recordings prove nothing anymore, but they make excellent blackmail. Suddenly, the warehouse doors burst open. Daniel and 2 former agents rushed in, weapons drawn. "FBI, hands up." Adrian's men reached for guns. Violence hung in the air, about to explode. Then sirens. Real sirens. Police cars screaming toward the warehouse. Catherine emerged from a side entrance, phone in her hand, tears streaming down her face. "I called them," she said. "It's over, Adrian." "What have you done?" Adrian spun on her, furious. "Why should I have done 2 years ago? I gave them everything. Every file. Every transaction. Every name. Including yours." FBI agents flooded in. Adrian and his men were arrested, dragged away screaming threats. The warehouse erupted into controlled chaos. Later, in an FBI interview room, Catherine finally told the truth. "I didn't know about Emma until after our divorce. I was pregnant, but didn't realize it until too late. You hated me by then. I'd already started seeing Adrian. I didn't know what he really was, didn't know about the money laundering until after we married. By then I was trapped. He threatened to use my company shares to bury me in criminal charges. So I gave him to Laura. Someone good, far from Adrian's world. I thought I could fix it eventually. And Noah." Catherine's composure shattered. "Noah found out about Emma. He overheard me on the phone. He was so smart, James. Too smart. He and Emma became friends at daycare. Then one day he overheard Adrian meeting with Volkov representatives. Heard them making threats about people who knew too much. Noah told his teacher he was scared. She filed a report. Adrian found out. So Adrian killed him. Adrian sent people to frighten Noah into silence. But Noah panicked, ran into traffic. The driver did lose control, but they were chasing him. It's my fault. All of it. Why come forward now? Because you're going to die next. And because Adrian would eventually find Emma. The only way to keep her safe was to destroy him first. So I testified. Against everyone. Federal witness protection offered me 7 years if I cooperate fully. And I'm signing away my rights to Emma. She deserves a father who can protect her. You can. I couldn't. 2 days later, James stood on Claire's doorstep. Custody papers signed. Social services approved. Emma sat on the steps with a small backpack. Aunt Claire says I'm coming to live with you. If you want to. Because you're my daddy? Yes. Emma studied him with those 2 old eyes. Noah said you were nice, but sad. Are you still sad? James knelt. I'm sad Noah isn't here. I'll always be sad about that. But I'm happy I found you. Can someone be both? I think so. I'm sad about Mama Laura and Noah. but happy you found me. Noah said you would. He said if anything bad happened, I should go to his grave because you always visit. He said you'd keep your promise. I will. I promise I'll keep you safe. Emma held out her hand. James took it. Can we visit Noah? I want to tell him we're together now. At the cemetery, morning light broke through the clouds. James and Emma stood at Noah's grave together. Emma placed dandelions. James placed roses. Father and daughter, side by side. Do you think he knows we found each other? Emma asked. Yes, I know he does. Noah said when people die, they become stars, so they can watch over people they love. Is that true? James looked up at the dawn sky, where stars still faintly shone. If Noah said it, then it's true. Then he's happy now, because we're together. Emma leaned against James. He wrapped his arm around her. Two people shattered by loss, beginning to heal. The city woke around them. Life continued. And somewhere up there, James believed Noah was smiling. If this story reminded you that love transcends even death, that broken families can find their way back to each other, that sometimes the smallest voices carry the most important truths, then do something for me right now. Hit that subscribe button because we share stories like this every week. Stories about hope, redemption, and the unbreakable bonds that connect us. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever discovered a truth that changed everything? And smash that like button so this message reaches someone who needs to hear that healing is possible, that family can be rebuilt, that promises made in love are never truly broken. Your story matters. Share it in the comments. We're listening.